So I would like to introduce our second expert panel of the day. It's called Bridging the Gap Between Talent and Opportunity. And the session will discuss how professional apprenticeships play an integral role in closing the skills gap in the US. The panel is co-presented by Aon and Accenture. And we'll be starting off leading the conversation by Ed Richardson, who is a reinsurance broker and an apprentice graduate at Aon. So please help me in welcoming Ed and our expert panelists from Aon and Accenture.
Hi, thanks for having us. I'm Ed Richardson from Aon. I started with Aon in 2017 in our inaugural apprenticeship class. Prior to starting at Aon, I was working as a job as a security guard, and I had done the junior college basketball thing and was looking for a path to be successful. And at that point, I had found myself in a dead-end job and dropped out of school. And so when I found Aon apprenticeship program online, the application said to not have any corporate experience, and they would pay for school. So at that time, that's kind of the opportunity I was looking for, and it made a lot of sense. So I was really happy when I seen it. You know, I shared it with a couple friends. I couldn't believe the opportunity. It said no corporate experience, and we'll put you through school for a global corporation who I'd known the name because my mom worked for them, for a piece of them, so I knew the name. So it was a great opportunity. And so then I applied, I got the opportunity, and when I was hired, I had no idea what to expect. But how it ended up turning out is I would go to school for about 15 hours a week, and I would work at Aon 25 hours a week, working with different professionals and very smart people, you know, learning different things. And as I went to school, I would work harder in my school classes so I can learn and apply my knowledge to feel as smart as the people I was working with. But, you know, they never looked down on me on talent or anything like that. So for that, I did that over 2 years at Aon, and then after those 2 years at Aon, I was able to get a full-time role with Aon in the reinsurance broking department. I started in the reinsurance broking department as an apprentice, but I was able to get experience in a few different areas, such as client services and broking. Broking is more client-facing. So after I graduated and I was presented with the opportunity to join a broking team, I took it. And from there, I've been servicing large insurance clients, government entities, helping them transfer their different risks into the reinsurance market. And I can't believe I know half the things I know, right? I was just an apprentice a couple years ago. So just making the relationships, seeing how business operates and things like that was a very big part of an apprenticeship for me. And so I've been enjoying every minute of it. And one of the most important parts for me, I think, as an apprentice is that Accenture and Aon, and I'm grateful for their leadership, has expanded this program to many different colleagues. You know, we're in different states, cities, and things like that. And so I'm constantly being reached out to by the new apprentices, just trying to figure it out. Because when I started, there wasn't any apprentice to reach out to, so we just kind of built it as we went. You know, and it was great partnership between Accenture and Aon, and Jim and Bridget, very hands-on. So from day one, we knew that the companies believed in the concept, and I would say they put their money where their mouth is and the resources. So it's been good seeing other people get the opportunity as well, and the apprenticeship expanded, and it's just been great as far as it being a network and everything. It's been a net positive on my life. Yeah, and the colleagues I was able to meet, the network that I was able to make while being an apprentice is unmatched for someone who had no four-year college degree or any corporate experience. So yeah, it was just part
How about we give it up for Ed?
Yeah, and so I'll introduce the person that helped me get the opportunity, Bridget Gaynor. She helped lead the charge from Aon and is a part of the Chicago Apprenticeship Network. Bridget Gaynor.
So, hello everybody. My name is Bridget Gaynor, and I am from Aon also. So I run our global public affairs, and I've been at the firm for about 21 years. And one of the things that we kind of came to each other at the same time, but we were at Aon looking to address a really specific talent issue. And I think the initial thought is, well, we wanted to address the diversity of our talent pool, but it wasn't really that. It was really about retention. Diversity was an important goal of the firm, but retaining entry-level talent and making sure we had the right match of talent and job was one of the drivers as we looked around and thought, what do we need to do differently? Because we saw we had high attrition. So we started looking at all the models, and one of them that we saw was really well developed outside of the US. So in the United Kingdom and in London and in Europe, apprenticeships in corporate life are really common, and it's a well-tread path, and many of the most senior people in our firm started out as apprentices right out of high school. And the corollary for anyone who's, especially if you're from Chicago, it was very similar to going to work at the Board of Trade or the Mercantile Exchange, where you came out and you really learned what to do while you were doing it. And so we thought, if that model has worked for hundreds of years and it also works in the financial services sector in our own city, maybe we should give it a try. And so we came together with some other companies, Accenture and Zurich, and looked at all of our entry-level positions to really determine and answer the question for ourselves: does every person who work at Aon, is a 4-year degree required, or have we just kind of gotten in the habit of hiring only from college? And so we went through that discernment process. We identified some roles, and we brought in the first class of apprentices. And so, the tag team that we'll do here is, I think, interesting because you can absolutely change what is expected for people to be able to come through the door of your own company, but it gets much stronger when you kind of come together with others and you really build a network. And Ed alluded to the network a little bit, and we're going to get into more detail. But one of the things that I would encourage everyone here to do is really think about, what does your entry-level population look like, and how could it potentially look different? And so my colleague here is Jim Coleman, who is at Accenture. And so we've been partners in crime on this for a long time, so we've been very lucky to have such great support. But Jim leads the efforts at Accenture, and so maybe I'll hand it over to you.
About the same time in Bridget's story that Aon was going through their discovery, we were doing the same. And you're going to hear from my colleague Danica here in a little bit. She was part of our first apprentice class in 2016, so about the same time as Ed. And Bridget and I came together, our two organizations came together. We were each doing sort of our own thing, and we said, wow, wouldn't this be cool if we could help inform and bring together other organizations to do similar sorts of things in our community here in Chicago. And that's what we've done. So when Bridget talks about the network, a few of us had lunch together. You could tell the camaraderie between Ed and Danica and so many of our apprentices. We built a network with the apprentices, but we've now got over 70 companies participating here across Chicagoland in the apprentice network. So in some really big companies like Aon and Accenture, for example, Walgreens and McDonald's, but also some smaller organizations, SDI Presence, a variety of Catalyte, a variety of other organizations participating with us. So it doesn't really matter the size of the organization, but since our inception, we've had, as I said, 70 companies. We've done almost 1,500 apprentices here in Chicago. And so people like Ed and Danica have worked their way. They've earned every bit of it. It's an earn and learn program. Our program's a little different than Aon's. We don't require everybody to run the exact same thing. There's no fees. There's no sort of way you have to do it. There's some principles which are really centered around giving people opportunity who are coming from a non-traditional background, giving them an opportunity to learn, giving them an opportunity to earn, and ultimately get full-time employment with your organization. So we're super proud of what we've done. We're super proud of the accomplishments of the 1,500 apprentices that are out there, not just Danica and Ed, but it's been a great journey.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I think is really important to talk about, and we alluded to it earlier, is the network. So we think of the apprentice program as 3 legs of the stool. There's the job, obviously incredibly important. Then there's the education and the training that happens. At Aon and some of the other firms, there's a companion piece of classroom learning that we partner with city colleges, and both Aon and Accenture have a really deep and important partnership with city colleges of Chicago. There's 7 of them. They have different specialties. Accenture probably leans more into the technology-oriented curriculum at Wright College. We lean a little bit more into the business curriculum at Harold Washington. But there are apprenticeship programs that are developing the logistics out at Olive Harvey, and the aviation out at Daly College. And so there's really something for everyone in the community colleges network. And also, as we have expanded nationally, we have continued to rely on that community college network, both as a feeder for potential apprentices and also for training. So the training is incredibly important. And then the third, though, part of the apprenticeship program, which I think not only makes it unique, but makes it incredibly valuable, is the network. It isn't just that in our silos, we as individual firms are designing a program and executing it. And like I said, that definitely has value, but we're helping to create a network that is among employers. So we're learning from each other, best practices from other firms, but also the apprentices are having the opportunity to engage with other people of their kind of same age, maybe same types of jobs in different companies. Some of our IT positions are similar to the IT positions at Accenture. Some of our, business and finance positions are similar to those at JPMorgan Chase. There's different connectivity there. And to bring people together, which we did a lot before COVID and we'll be starting to do again, is you get people in a room, you can do, we've done speed dating programs, we've done networking back and forth. It gives people experience and exposure to a kind of a corporate infrastructure that they might not have ever come across in their own lives or with their own families and friends. And so for us, the important thing is to build that strength.
I wanted to elaborate on the types of jobs. So you may be sitting there, well, what kind of jobs is this for? And I think you've got two different examples here. We've got IT, a procurement professional, we've got an insurance professional. At Accenture, we were very cautious. We started with 5. We put our toe in the water. We had 5, and Danica was one of the first members of our first cohort of apprentices. This year we'll do almost 50, just to put a perspective to how much we believe in this. But we started in internal IT. We figured it was safe. It was, if something didn't work out, we could figure it out and it was safe. We quickly learned, though, if we wanted to scale, and I saw some of the logos on the list, many of you are our clients, so thank you very much if you work with Accenture out in the crowd. But we realized that we couldn't scale the program if we didn't expand, and we didn't focus on not just internal roles in our IT function or our finance function or our HR function, but we really needed to get folks out in our client community because that's where the majority of our people work. And so that was a big step for us. But so I would challenge you, if you work with Accenture out there and you've got a team from Accenture on the ground, there's probably a good chance one of our apprentices is on the team. So when you think about it, you think about, can you do this? We not only do it in the way we run our internal business, but we actually do it in the way we work with our clients as well. So it's been a tremendous opportunity for growth. I think now we have apprentices in almost every field. I can't almost think of a field where either the two of our organizations or our network of companies out there aren't using apprentices. So it's almost really across the board. I also want to highlight the partnerships with community colleges. I was having a conversation earlier. We started with city colleges of Chicago, and they've been an amazing and a wonderful partner. But so have a number of other institutions. They've stepped up, not just here in Chicago, but we've expanded, as Bridget and Ed mentioned as well, nationally. So Ann and Accenture are now in 7 or 8 markets together. Accenture's in 30 cities across the country. We recently committed that we would hire 20% of our almost 5,000 hires per year from non-traditional backgrounds. I was looking the other day, and I need to call Juan on this. It's something that is really interesting, but we hire, 500 to 700 people a year in Chicago. And City College has become a top 15 recruiting school for us. So if you think about that, I went to Purdue University. Purdue is on the list, but
they're the ones who lost to St. Peter's.
Yeah, they're the ones who lost to St. Peter's. Thank you for that, actually. I appreciate that.
I mean, that's how people know them.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That one, the one that lost to St. Peter's. That's what I should have said. I went to the school that lost to St. Peter's in the NCAA tournament. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I think that's our commitment to this is deep, and our commitment to helping others do this is deep. When we started, it was our 2 organizations in Zurich working together, trying to figure this out, hiring great talent, but kind of wondering what would we do with this. And we said, hey, we're going to build this network, and we're going to do this thing. And now we have 70 companies. And as I said, there's a number of you that are part of the network. Thank you. For others, we want you to come in. We want you to join what we're doing. It's a great opportunity. It's a tremendous source of talent and opportunity for each of you to grow your organizations. So I want you to, again, take the challenge and try to think about how could you recruit differently? How could you think about supporting somebody who didn't have the same opportunity or maybe go to the school that lost to St. Pete and had that degree because it was a requirement, but it wasn't really all necessary perhaps.
Right. I'm going to pick up on that, which is to say, so you're interested, you're engaged, this is all kind of intriguing. What is the logical next step? What would be the first thing that you would do as a firm that would be interested in thinking about it? Or maybe you're someone that works with companies to kind of advise them or help them think about recruiting strategies. And I'll kind of break it into two parts, one of which, and this is what Jim alluded to, which I think is incredibly important. We've evolved over the course of time to have a wide range of potential options. But just like Accenture, we started really narrow. We started in corporate, IT, HR, and finance. And the pragmatic piece about that, when you're thinking about it for yourself, is those are they're in every company. So if you're designing a model, it's easy to kind of spread that. But also they're kind of closer to the overall corporate infrastructure. So if a leader of a firm, a CEO or someone makes a commitment to try to take on this new strategy, those roles tend to be closer, and so they're a little bit easier to execute. What we found, though, is a lot of the diversity that happened afterwards really happened organically. It was that somebody who worked in IT happened to be on the same floor of somebody who ran the actuarial practice, got exposed to that field, got interested in it, took further study in it, and then chose to go down that path as, say, an actuary. And it's that cross-pollination that happens. And so the thing I would say about that is, A, you've got to start somewhere. So don't try to like boil the ocean about, I'd have to identify somewhere throughout my business, or I have to have a big number. A small number's fine. You definitely need about 4 or 5 so people feel like they have a community and a cohort, especially if it's the first time you're doing it. But imagine that you're going to start where you are in something that's under your control, and then people will become exposed to new opportunities on their own. And you might be surprised to see even where it goes. And so I think that, don't be overwhelmed by taking the first step. There's so much opportunity for guidance. If you're in Chicago, there's the Chicago Apprentice Network, and Jim said there's 70 companies, well over 1,000 apprentices. There's a playbook. There's a real clear step-by-step process. There's also a bunch of other cities, so if you're thinking about where you are now or where you might be interested in the apprentice program, reaching out to the Chicago Apprentice Network, getting a sense of where someone could just give you a steer. One of the things that we've done for many, many companies, and there's a bunch of people who help with the apprentice program from both Aon, Accenture, and in the room, is just sitting down with someone and saying, hey, you know what, as a first step, just look at your entry-level positions and really look at not just the job description, but what does that person do every day? And if you can look at the things that they do every day and imagine that those things could be done by somebody who didn't have a 4-year degree, had aptitude and ambition, but could be trained on the job, that opens the door to take that next step. So I think that the key thing here is it doesn't have to be perfect. You should just start, and you'll end up learning things you might not have even predicted.
And if you're having trouble today finding the right talent or hiring the right people, I think this is a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity to give back, to do something a little bit different, but more importantly, to feed your organization. I mean, the quality of the talent, the commitment. Bridget talked about one of their drivers earlier at Aon being retention. For us, it's scale. We have 700,000 people around the world in one of the fastest growing spaces. A lot of our business is in tech. And so we have a tremendous need to continue to bring people into our organization and to grow, but we also have turnover. And for us, it was really, really important to find new ways to recruit because of that retention issue, to get folks who really wanted to be with us. And what we found, I'm going to reflect on the numbers here at a high level, nobody throw anything at me, but I think, we've done about 150 so far in Accenture Chicago. About 90% of those have gotten full-time offers, and our retention level is through the charts. So I would challenge you to go find another source for talent that produces the quality of folks that we do, that does all the great things it does for these individuals as well as the community, but also meets the needs of the organization. One of the questions we get asked all the time is, especially early on, we'd get asked all the time, is this a philanthropy? Are you guys doing this because it's just the right thing to do, big organizations, you want to be out there talking about it? I tell this to every apprentice that comes in, they have a deliverable, they have a paying job. The reason we've been able to scale the program is because it's not a philanthropy. Our philanthropy budgets are limited. Our ability to hire talent are unlimited. We need talent, we need people. That's where the money is in our organizations. This is not a philanthropic, let's go do something to be nice. This is, we need folks who can do the work, who are committed to doing the work, and who can do it really, really, really well.
Jim, can I add something on that?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, to the philanthropy point, I'll just add, I remember when we first started, you all used to tell us it's a win, 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 like the 3 wins, right? For us as the colleagues, the colleagues that we work with, obviously the company, they're getting diverse talent, and then our communities as well. So that's really stuck with me from the beginning, because I just thought it was important that we also, because we had an eagerness to learn, it brought a lot of goodwill to our other colleagues and things like that. So they really wanted to work with apprentices, and they were really interested in what the program was, because it was the first year of it. So I would say that we brought a lot of interest to the apprenticeship program just by our work ethic. So I don't think it would be any philanthropy as well, because we, we always say, it's a win, win, win. And then the community part is, we're not always from communities where everyone on the block is in a professional job and things like that. So to bring back the knowledge, the experience and things like that, that we can pass forward and things like that is it's unmeasurable. So
I want to take a minute to introduce Danica. So Danica was in our first cohort, and I think she may have actually been. We have a large organization here, as I said, and so we do our all office meeting at the Chicago Theater, because it takes the theater to fill with all the people we have. And I had an opportunity to hand Danica a mock diploma from City Colleges of Chicago with, at that time, the previous chancellor. But Danica's been a superstar. She was one of the first people who walked across the stage and trusted us, joined our organization, heeded my warning that you better make good out of this, because we want to make this big. And so for all of our success, she's one of the people, just like Ed, we have to thank for this. So Danica, over to you.
Thank you. Pleasure to see you all. My name is Danica Loha. I was born and raised in Serbia and educated there through my early 20s. And I moved to the United States in 2011. Soon after getting settled here in Chicago, I enrolled in Wilbur Wright College, which is part of the City Colleges of Chicago, to pursue an associate's degree in computer information systems. During my time at Wright College, I did what so many immigrants and students do. I was working in a restaurant to afford my tuition and living expenses. And then after graduating and with my associate's degree, Wright College reached out to me with the news about the apprentice program. At that time, I had a brief role managing suppliers for a local appliance superstore, but I was really interested in this opportunity to become an apprentice. So I applied and I was accepted, and like Jim said, I became part of the first cohort of Accenture apprentices in 2016. This program has meant the world to me. It was a learn and earn opportunity, so I was able to focus on building my skills while I was paid and had full benefits. It was fast-paced. I learned a lot through some great training program. I also traveled. As an apprentice, I traveled. I was invited to all the team building activities and training opportunities. It was comprehensive and fast-paced. Upon completing a 12-month program, I was hired as an analyst in 2017, and since then, I've been promoted 3 times. So today, I'm an associate manager, and for me, the sky's the limit. So it's a great program, and I highly recommend, and I'm grateful to see many other companies keep joining Accenture and Aon, and more than 70 companies that we now have locally, part of the apprenticeship network. So it's been a great experience and life-changing event. I'm fortunate to be part of it and to see it grow and to, changing many people's lives the way it changed mine.
It was so exciting for me today I got to join up in the lunchroom for a few minutes and get to see Ed and Danica, because one of the other things we do as part of the network, and we'll be getting these going again, and I would encourage any of you to reach out, or we put them on LinkedIn and things. It's ChicagoApprenticeNetwork.org, so you can find out information. As Bridget said, we've put together a whole bunch of collateral, how-to guides, and case studies and examples, and you can meet a lot of the apprentices, their stories about various individuals in different professions out there as well, obviously masked, but you can learn a lot more. The other thing is we do quarterly events, so hopefully we will start doing those again. They're open to everyone. They're open to companies. They're open to apprentices. It's a great opportunity. That's where our apprentices get to know each other, get to build their professional communities and extend what they do with each other and learn from each other about what's working, what's not working. And then as employers, we get to meet all of you, and we get the opportunity to share why we believe in this so much, why it's working for our organizations, and why we believe in it so much. So I think on behalf of Accenture and Aon, we would like to thank all of you but for listening to us and hearing our stories. We'd like to absolutely thank Ed and Danica for being with us. But I'd also like to offer a challenge. There's so many organizations out there. We're all in need of talent. I challenge you, just do a couple. Do one or two. Dip your toe in the water. We did 5 in 2016. We had no idea. My colleague Mike's here. We had no idea what we were doing. We didn't know if it was going to work or not. It works. It really works. And it's great for your organization. It's great for the talent you'll bring in. And really, I think it's a no-risk move. And take advantage of the experiences of the 70 companies of Aon, of Accenture, of Zurich, McDonald's, Walgreens. The list is so long of companies that are doing this here in Chicagoland, and make a difference in your own organization.
Yeah, and I'll just echo that to close, which is...
She always gets the last word.
I don't.
She's probably going to say something about St. Peter's now.
That was already the last word. No, but I think that one of the things we hear bandied about all the time when it comes to employment is that there's a skills gap. And skills gap, it seems innocuous enough, but it really puts all the onus on the individual. How are they supposed to know how to get trained in order to land the right job? And so much of that is you make a good guess and you hope it works out. We like to think about it more of like a training gap, which is that the employer and the employee kind of share both opportunity and responsibility. And so I think with the apprentice program and think about the long history of the building trades and others that have really joined the work and the learning much more closely together, and they've ended up with a really great result. And so that's what we hope to do today. But we thank you, again, everyone, for being here. But I really would echo Jim's challenge. There's no reason this can't happen. The variety of companies who've made it successful are literally across the entire economic spectrum. But I also think it's something about addressing the cost of college, about race, class, and equity that we all can take a part of. So thank you.
Thank you.